So it's week 7. The reading has been fantastic this week. And just so many connections between the readings. And I first want to just say how the readings has been for me this quarter, more so than any other quarter. So I'm really appreciative to do that. This week, this video is going to focus primarily on some connection between Moatman and Costin. First, just we're talking about reading and proclaiming the word, and one of there's some great time spent in Costin's writing, looking at the way that it's of African Americans, and then Moatman spends a lot of time talking about the connection between God's love and the experience of the children of Israel in Exodus. And so I wanted to just talk about those connections as it relates to my own music as a conveyor of spirituality, and this idea that um, as a way to convey God's love and to proclaim the word, that music gives the African American or the experience of an African American parishioner the opportunity to, number one, respond to God, to communicate problems and joys, to voice hope in despair, all of those things. And then Moatman talks a lot about Christianity being the link between the experience of love and some problems and joys, voice hope in the midst of despair, and assert their humanity. Because music is also rooted in the emotion, music can express in the expressible and serve as a mask for realities of life. Um, Anyone who knows anything about the experience of African Americans, especially during the times of slavery, knows that music was used. Music that sometimes is referred to as gospel music was used to communicate codes that equated to the liberation of African Americans. And the music in itself represented more than just uh, this idea of um, art, but also very much so represented the access to freedom. And as a in addition, alongside the ministry of proclaiming God's word, has sang or some the primary like recipe or the primary elements of producing and sharing music, just giving people this opportunity to express God's love through song. A lot, and I would say this to be true for historically in the African American context, our ancestors all didn't always know how to read, and their interpretation of the word was based on what they were learned. Sometimes it would be from children that they cared for, at the master's house, who would teach them how to read, generally using the Bible, and they would take those very limited interpretations and they would create songs and they would sing about the experiences of the children of Israel as a way to escape their realities. Um, I'm trying to find this thing that I wanted to read from Moatman's book. He talks about the love of God and the story of Exodus and how the children of Israel accept and God's covenant through experiencing freedom, and I think that that's really important. As music is not just music, or it's not just an alternative way to proclaim God's word, but it is God's word coming to life in ways that seem very clear and in ways that don't seem very clear to maybe the listener. And in so many ways, that's sort of the arch of poetry, and anybody who has ever studied like the beginning of gospel music and how so many genres of music associated with African Americans is birthed in gospel music because of the ways that we had to learn how to use words creatively um, beyond just what the words said. I'm trying to find this part. The people. The title, Lord, does not sing, and seeing the misery of people as and that music. I'm to say that the presentation of music, the manifestation of music, can be deeply related to the origins of gospel music, which come from using the words that come from the Bible to create movements where people were liberated, and whether that be through the Underground Railroad or just the